Season 9 of Night School is presented by the AQHA. Catch this weekend's AQHA Challenge Trials at Will Rogers Downs. Keeneland Select. New players can earn a $150 sign-up bonus. Woodbine. Live racing all weekend at Woodbine and Woodbine Mohawk Park. Woodbine Mile Day, September 14th. Remington Park. Thoroughbred action is back. Live racing Thursday through Sunday. And ExpressBet. Fund your account for free with Express Fund.
Horses have off days, and by looking at them before they actually get on the racetrack, you get an initial impression of which way they're leaning.
This is going to sound crazy, but for me, it's intellectual stimulation.
Class is now in session. It's time for Night School. Here are your hosts.
Hi again, everybody. Jeremy Plonk from Horse Player Now, welcoming you to Night School, the national online fan education program in Season 9. It's second semester time as we talk daily doubles on this episode. I'm joined by Brian W. Spencer, General Manager of Horse Player Now. Brian, I guess we're the double, you and me, either way.
Yeah, and I never would have thought it a decade ago that I would be sitting here getting excited for the doubles episode of Night School, thinking that had sort of become one of my go-to wagers, but here we are, and I think that we've got a lot of good reasons to talk about playing the doubles, and I think it's a pool that, for a lot of players, is still really underutilized.
It is. How underutilized? Consider it's a two-horse wager, right? For our novice fans, a daily double's the winner of two races in succession, say the first and second, the second and third, throughout the course of the card. An exacta is a two-horse wager, the first and second place finishers in the same race. Same type concept, same type risk, you might think. Yet the exacta is 4 to 5 times more popular than the daily double in terms of the amount of money wagered on them. At almost any racetrack, you look at the handle numbers, the exacta will be 4 or 5 times more money bet on it than the daily double. Why is that? I think people are just impatient. You know, the exacta pays this race. The daily double forces you to wait 25 minutes until the next race runs. And I think as a patient horse player, you can take advantage of that and also take advantage of some field size advantages that we'll talk about through the course of this episode. You know, the history of the daily double, it used to be the original parlay, if you will, the first 2 races on the card, why it was called the daily double. And then later on, as the 60s, 70s progressed, there was a late daily double added, the last 2 races on the card. And, you know, people get stuck in tradition. Brian, the early double, the first 2 races on the card, usually handles more than any other daily double the entire rest of the way. You could have 2 grade 1 stakes races in races 8 and 9. The double in those 2 races won't handle as much as the daily double in races 1 and 2. So I think people get stuck in tradition and they're not looking at the daily double in terms of an attack wager. But we've got some strategies that I think people are really overlooking.
Yeah, and I think the patience factor is very interesting because something that we talk about for season after season after season on Night School is, if you like a horse, make sure you get paid. So if you're playing a double, you don't always 100% have to be the patient guy in the room. If you like that horse in the first leg and that horse wins, maybe you're cashing your win bet to begin with so you get that instant return there and you've still got your double. Not all the time, but definitely saying we always want to have those backups on good horses we like that we're using as key horses in those multi-race plays, but you will see some major chances in those probables. You can follow those up to post time, just like we talked about with the exactas earlier on in this season of Night School. But the doubles, you get to pick winners, and to me, that's still what this game is all about.
Yeah, picking winners. You don't have to worry about the also-rans, right? How does the pace affect the second, third, fourth place finishes? How to jockey in 10th or maybe a dead rail or a good spot on the turf course affect, who ended up clunking along to run second, third, fourth. You don't have to worry about that when you're playing the doubles. You're only looking to play on the top end, and you can see those probable payoffs. I can tell what this horse to the next race is going to pay ahead of time. Can I judge the value on that? If I have a fair odds line set up for myself as a handicap, handicapper, which I do on races. Do I have a 2-1 in this race and a horse who's 3-1 in the next race? And what is that double paying? Does that look fair to me? I can see that ahead of time. There are some fluctuations in the double pools, just as there are in exactas and win bets. And as you get closer to post time, the favorites tend to get bet a little bit harder. You can expect, if the favorite, the double with the two favorites is paying $14 with 2 minutes to post, it's probably going to get hit a little bit harder and end up at around 11 or 12 by post time. You can make those same kind of assumptions that you do looking ahead in the doubles. But looking back in the doubles, I think, is one of the most creative points that people do not utilize enough, that really can help you understand the odds of a race. When a race is completed, the next race comes up. Look at the daily double will pace for the horses, say, in race number 2. The way they rank in order, 1 through, the largest number in the field, is going to tell you almost every single time. I'm talking 95+% of the time will tell you how the race is going to be bet in the win pool. If a horse is favored in the double, they are 95% of the time could end up the favorite in the win pool. The second choice, the third choice, they generally fall in line. Why? The morning line is a projection of somebody's thoughts of what the public will bet. The daily double tells you what they already have. If there's $20, $30, $50, $100,000 in the daily double pool, that's already live money from the betting public that tells you who they think will win this upcoming race. That's where the win pool money is going to end up as well. It gives you a great baseline. So you're not stuck with a horse who's 6-1, a couple minutes to post, 5 minutes to post. A horse is 6-1, and he's the second choice in the daily doubles. He's not staying 6-1, folks. He's going to be bet like the second choice in the race. And so you can expect most second choices are going to be around 3-1, 5-2, 7-2. This horse who's 6-1 is coming down to that level, and you don't get caught in a trap. And the daily double will pays are your friend. And even if you're not playing in the pools, Brian, they can be your friend in telling you where the win pool is going to end up. So the double is very valuable in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and listening to you kind of talk about using the double will pays after the first leg is run to project who's going to be your favorite, who's going to be your second choice, and kind of the spread in the odds between them, that's a thing that I think is important for people, especially who are getting into the game early. I think that's a really important thing to learn to be able to do and kind of get those quick baseline calculations in your head, because there are enough things in this game, late odds changes, things like that. There are enough things in this game that are completely out of our control that are frustrating. Something that is completely in our control is betting a horse who's 10-1 at 12 minutes to post and then being upset that the horse was the 3-1 second choice when if you looked at the doubles, you knew it was going to happen the whole time. So that's a source of frustration that we can take out for new players, get a better idea of what price you're going to get, and those will pays doubles pick threes allow you to do that. And I think that's one of those things that just remove the annoyances in racing that we don't need to have there. And that's one of those things that you can just basically toss out of any day at the track right there. Get an idea of what price you're going to get. Don't be surprised at post time.
And if you're a pick 3, pick 4, pick 5 player and you're looking at the double probables from this race to the next, they again become a friend to you, because not only can you see the win pool odds in the current race that may start that pick 3, pick 4, pick 5, but now you can see the double probables and see who's being bet in that second leg already. So you've got a sense of not only the first race in the sequence, what the odds will be, also the second. Now for races, 3, 4, and 5 down the line in a pick 3, pick 4, pick 5, there you're going to have to do some estimation. But that double really gives you a leg up on the second leg of those multi-race wagers too. So maybe you'll see a horse who's very live and being bet hard that you didn't like that now you want to include in a pick 3, pick 4, pick 5. So again, this double will pays can certainly be your friend. The biggest friendliness I think that comes with the daily double versus an exacta is when you have a large field size on either side of a race where you have an opinion. Let's say race number 3, I love the one horse in this race. You got to get paid when you're right. You said it earlier in this program. I've been saying it for over a decade. That's my number one rule in this game. Get paid when you're right. So if I like the one horse in race number 3, I'm betting him to win if it's a fair price. But I'm also looking at race 2 and race 4 around them to see where I might be able to work daily doubles. Because say the horse I like is in a 7-horse field. There's only 42 exacta combinations in a 7-horse field. 7 can win, 6 can run second. 7 times 6. There's only 42 combinations. But let's say there's a 12-horse field on either side of this 7-horse field. That means in the doubles, there's 84 combinations. 7 can win this leg that we're focusing on. 12 can win the other. 7 times 12 is 84. So now we're almost doubling the number of possible combinations. And in parimutuel wagering, you get paid by the losing tickets. That's the rule, right? All the money goes in, the winners share, the losers pay. That's the way this game works. So when you have larger field sizes, there are inevitably going to be more losing tickets, and that helps increase the payoffs. That's why large field sizes are always more appealing to bet into. Maybe you don't have a large field size in the race where you really love a horse, but you have a large field size on the other side. That allows your daily double now to grow in combinations and can be maybe as much as twice as many combinations in the daily double as there is in the exacta. So while other people are trying to take that horse they love and turning it into a $14 exacta, you might be looking at $40 daily doubles because you're going to a 12-horse field where it's more difficult for people to sort things out. Use a couple horses in the 12-horse field. You're still leveraging your money where you can make a buck, and that's what this game is all about. Field size, very important on either side of the daily doubles, and those are the ones you want to attack. And, Brian, when you get short fields, there's not a lot you can do with these, right? You get some 5- and 6-horse fields at some tracks and certain times of the year. You've got to parlay winners together. It's like betting football games. You know, you're going to get even money or less on some wagers. You've got to start to string together some parlays to make any money, and the double can be the way to attack that. 2 winners in consecutive races with short fields might end up giving you a $10 or $11 return, and that's not bad given you the chance of those horses winning the way you dope out a race sometimes.
Yeah, we always talk about determining how to bet horses. How do you bet a horse at 10 to 1? You got a lot more options, it seems to me, to kind of work a horse like that in. But, you know, what do you do when you love a horse who's 7 to 5? Okay, if you've got a 12-horse turf field before it, look in that 12-horse turf field. You think the favorite's vulnerable? Maybe you use 3 or 4 horses in there, key it to your 7 to 5 in the next race, and all of a sudden maybe that 7 to 5 winner, you know, turns into an 8, 9 to 1 double if you catch a 4, 5 to 1 horse in the previous race. So using the probables are your friend, and doubles are a way to allow you to really bet some different types of horses, including some potentially shorter priced horses than you may normally be able to in the vertical wagers within each individual race.
And a couple things, too, with the doubles, you know, ancillary notes, but you're not looking at spreading your money out over 4 or 5 races like a pick 4, pick 5. Gives you a chance to churn a little bit more, make some money, play, you know, bankroll and that sort of thing like that. And also you avoid massive weather changes. I mean, of course, the weather can change at any point in time, but if you're only looking at a wager that spans, say, 25 minutes start to finish from off time of one race till post time of the next 25, 30 minutes, you've got a lot better chance of the weather not going south on you than you do playing pick 4s and pick 5s where your money is tied up for 3 hours at a time and the weather can change drastically throughout the course of the money that you already have laid out there. So there is some advantage to that. And if you do have that impatience problem, I know we talked about you playing exacta because you're not patient enough to play the double, but if you're not patient enough to stick around for 3, 4, 5, 6 races in some of those multi-race wagers, the double can be a good compromise to that and one that you want to take a look at. Brian, any other final thoughts on the daily doubles on your end?
Well, I mean, one of the things I think to remember is I think I started in racing as kind of a big swing player, and it's very tough to hit, you know, a life-changing double score. The pools aren't big enough, but you can make a really good kind of weekend over the course of several months. You know, if you're a regular player, just hitting some doubles, hammering doubles you love, I mean, that really is the way to go for me. You mentioned how weather can take a turn in longer sequences. Just only one thing has to go wrong for you to get knocked out of a multi-race sequence, whether it lasts 2 races or 5 races. So a double is great because there's only 2 races for something to go wrong, and you can still get paid, and seeing the probables, you know exactly what you're going to get ahead of time.
And my final point is limit your combinations in daily doubles. This isn't where you want to be spending 12, 15, 16 different combinations. To me, the magic number is about 4. You know, you want to be spending about 4 to 1. 2 horses in one race to 2 in the next. 4 horses in one race to 1 in the next. About 4 combinations, I think, is the way you want to go with the average payout of a daily double and what you would be investing in. Remember, only one of those 4 can win, so you've got to be able to get paid when you're right. We are going to take a break on this edition of Night School, but plenty more talking of daily doubles with the queen of Night School, Caton Bredar, at the end. But before that, we go to the Night School Vault, and our former Night School radio host, Steve Bick, checks in with his thoughts on the Daily Double. Stay with us.
Pick, bet, and cheer on live racing from Woodbine and Mohawk Park. Thoroughbred and harness action. The wagers are just the beginning. Watch award-winning broadcasts covering both breeds, incredible battles contested over the most unique grass course in North America. Experience the full fields with over 130 thoroughbred and 160 live harness days. Get access to free handicapping material and join the ranks of Woodbine and Mohawk Park players from all over the globe. For more information, visit woodbine.com.
Hey, what's going on? Mikey here, and I'm going to tell you about an offer from my good friends at ExpressBet. Let's be honest, we know you love playing the races, but you can't always make it to the track. Sometimes life just gets in the way of a good bet. Well, what if I told you about a place where you never miss a bet and you start with house money? You'd say I'm crazy, right? Well, not at ExpressBet. Your first $100 are on them. That's right. Sign up with expressbet.com using promo code XBRadio, bet $100, and they'll deposit $100 back into your account the very next day. Hey, plus you could get an extra $25 if you use Express Fund Direct Deposit. You see what I mean? House money for betting the races. It's that easy. Check it out at expressbet.com to learn more. And don't forget to sign up with promo code XBRadio. You're gonna love it. And that's a Mikey guarantee. Must be 18 years or older and 21 years old in certain states to open an account with ExpressBet and reside in a state where such activity is legal. Void where prohibited. National Gambling Support Line 800-522-4700.
Some folks like to bet on the horses. Some like to bet on the games. Some folks like to bet on their phone. And some like to bet from their suite. So what's your best bet? All of the above. No matter how you like to bet, Remington Park is your best bet yet. With world-class horse racing, OKC's newest casino, and online suite booking now available. Remington Park, it's your best bet yet.
Strategize, analyze, select. Join Keeneland Select to bet on racing from around the world on your computer, tablet, or smartphone, anytime, anywhere. Featuring the best rewards in racing, free pass performances, live video, race replays, and more. Plus, Keeneland Select invests a portion of its profits back into the sport. Join Keeneland Select today and earn a $150 sign-up bonus at KeenelandSelect.com. Dedicated to the sport and dedicated to the players.
Welcome back to the show. Enjoy this classic night school clip from the vault.
In terms of those that have a smallish budget to apply, I suppose that many of the same discussion points and identification of your handicapping qualities applies here, because if you're solid at identifying win candidates and have a smallish budget, well, then some daily doubles and pick threes very well may be your best friend, as opposed to trying to find second and third place finishers behind a win candidate. And there again, if you are somebody that is better at grouping the horses that are candidates within a race to line up, and you can't necessarily identify, which one is a better win candidate than a couple of others, well, then maybe you are better off with a 50-cent try, and whether it's a key or, I see some people are arguing against boxing, that's a diluted opinion. I don't necessarily always agree with that. I think it's circumstantial, but I think, again, like anything else in this game, if you're in touch with what you do well, it'll help you better utilize what you've got in your pocket.
Welcome back to Night School. Brian W. Spencer joined again by Caton Bredar to close out tonight's show on doubles. Doubles, Caton, one of the last wagers we're talking about this season where you can see the probables. Talk to us about your strategies, when you like to play the doubles, where you find them useful, and maybe sometimes where you can use those pools to impact your other wagers.
Well, the number one way to use doubles or play doubles is when you have a horse that you really like a lot that's not favored. I mean, if you really feel strongly, this is absolutely my top choice in the race, and I really believe he's going to win, and he's not one of the favorites, that's a great opportunity because now you can multiply your winnings. I mean, you bet inside the race, but you can also use it with doubles. And maybe even if a favorite hits in another leg, you can still get a very good bang for your buck. So first of all, you have to have a strong opinion. And if that strong opinion is a good price, great. Now let's say that strong opinion is going to be a short price. The doubles sometimes offer opportunity to get more bang for your buck. Maybe the horse is going to be such a short price that you really can't play him very much within his field, within that particular race. But you can find some opportunity through the doubles. The time you don't play the doubles is when you like the favorite in either part of the double. That rarely is going to yield a great profit. I mean, unless you really want to bet enough with a chalk and a chalk to make it worthwhile. So those are sort of automatic throwouts. But the one key with that, and I know that you guys would have gone over this, but it's people so often forget that they think you have to start with the horse that you like in the double. Always, the better opportunities are oftentimes when the horse that you like is in the second part of the double. So always explore the opportunities in both directions, where you close out the double with your horse or where you kick it off, and see what those fields look like surrounding. Small fields kind of kill the price, regardless of what your horse is. So those are kind of stay away from a lot of the time, unless you really feel strongly that that small field is wide open and, that the favorite in that small field is vulnerable. But I find when the odds are hidden on the horse that you like, that's when and even if he is a short price favorite, a lot of times if the public doesn't see that in the second leg of the double, and you're just looking at the payoffs, you can see what you're going to get, and you're probably going to get better value with a short price favorite closing out your double than you are kicking it off, because everybody sees it's the favorite and they start betting more heavily using it in the doubles. So the ideal situation is to have a decent sized field where you think the favorite is vulnerable in the first leg of the double, paired with a horse that you like a lot as the only horse you play in the second part of the double.
And I think that we've seen a lot of different strategies on how to play the double, but being able to see those probables does give you that leg up. And Kate, and coming back to a point that Jeremy brought up earlier on tonight's episode and throughout this season, one of those things to remember, the addition of rolling doubles to most wagering menus. Rolling pick threes means that if you've got a horse you like in one race, there are a lot of different ways you can bet into that horse, you can bet out of that horse, and Caton really driving that point home. Use those rolling doubles to your advantage to figure out which race to play to support the horse you really like. This is going to wrap it up for our episode on doubles. We'll be back next week to talk more about turf racing, turf sprinting, and Euro handicapping.
Next on FAQ 60, the morning line. The morning line odds are not a prediction of each horse's probability of winning a race. Rather, they're a prediction of how the public will bet the race. Once betting begins, the morning line odds are replaced with the actual odds. There are two ways you can use morning line odds to your advantage. First, the morning line helps a horse player determine overlay or underlay values. If a horse's current odds are over the projected morning line odds, that's an overlay, and it can be a great value bet. Second, morning line odds are significant to players making multi-race bets like the Daily Double and Pick 4. Those early morning line projections often attract the most money in the multi-race pools, which decreases your potential payoff. This FAQ 60 is presented by AQHA Racing and Horse Player Now.
Enjoy tonight's episode? Check out hundreds of past archives at horseplayernow.com.